What's up YouTube, Dao here from War Games, bringing you a test time video for Ancient Warriors. In front of you is a quick reminder of what the deck list looks like, so if you want to pause it and go for it, you are more than welcome to do so. If you want a deck list with more discussion, more explanation, then check out the profile that I did for this in the comments below. With that out of the way, I'm going to blitz through the deck just to show you exactly what we got, and then we're going to get into test stands going first and second. So of course we've got triple Lujian, triple Sun Moon, triple Guozhan, triple Zukong, one Zhang Di, one Zhang Yon, one Zugong, triple Fractal, double Nerval, double Karas, double Ash Blossom, triple Tenki, triple Extravagance, triple Ancient Warrior free visits, triple East by South Winds, triple Forbidden Droplet, one Call by the Grave, and triple Infinite Impermanence. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, smash that like button, get it up to at least 50 likes, and I will bring you more test hands and combos for either Ancient Warriors or other decks as well. Now, let's get into those test hands. So on this one, we're going to do 2 test hands going first and 2 test hands going second for Ancient Warriors. Now, obviously, the overall build of this deck is to go second. That's where it's going to be more aggressive, where it's going to be more defined. Going first, you can still produce some very good boards, but you'll be looking to kind of rely a little bit more on Appaloosa than anything else. The design is to go second, so we'll focus less on going first, but I'll just show you exactly what it can do in those scenarios. So after a very good shuffle and a very decent cut, our opening hand of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's actually a really good hand. Now, one thing you could do if you wanted to is you could rely on the Toad Shark plays, but we're going to pretty much try and attempt for IP plus Appaloosa, and that is then going to allow us to either trigger during our opponent's turn a Shurag, or it'll be able to trigger a Unicorn, or if you wanted to, you could put in an Avramax as well. It also depends on if you plan to, because like I said, during the profile, the side would pretty much be to go for the Barrier Statue of Wind. So, what you can do as well is you could activate your East by Southeast and trigger this first, meaning that all of your effects regarding your Ancient Warriors can't be responded to. That's entirely up to you on if you want to trigger that now or if you want to save it as a send fodder for later on. What we will do, starting off though, is we are going to use Tenki, because Tenki will get our missing piece. So in our hand at the moment, we've got the Fractal and any Beast Warrior we want to discard. So now all we are missing is quite simply our Ancient Warrior, where are you, Lujian. Now we've pretty much got full combo. Now we can Ancient Warrior, but we can use East by South Winds. But right now, what we're going to be doing is we're not actually going to be able to, we're not using any Ancient Warrior effects. So on the basis, what we've got is we've got the ability to normal summon Lujian. Lujian can then send Tenki, but obviously our opponent needs to control more monsters than us, which means Lujian's full effect isn't going to be active, which is why, again, I say it's very important that this deck goes second. So we're going to use the Fractal effect. Now, Fractal is going to obviously do the same play. It's going to send Nerval. Now, in this scenario, what you can choose to do is you can choose to add a second Fractal because you've already opened up the Karas. Now, what the Karas can do, purely because it's a dead card in hand, is send the Kong. Now, the only time that Kong is going to be useful to us is if we actually hold on to it. Because if we by holding on to it, what it allows us to do going first is it will allow us to set up the ability to use not so much East by South Winds right now, but it'll give us the ability to protect during our opponent's turn, because we will end our board on Lujian and Zukong. And because we can't specifically search out Zukong, that does pose an issue. So we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to see how this one works. So we're going to use Karas's effect. And Karas is going to send the Kong, because we're going to try and do this a little bit of a different way. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use the ability to of Karas to banish 2. Now we're going to banish the Fractal and the Nerval, and that's going to allow us to get our Ferrigit. Now you could go into the Ancient Warrior link too if you want to, but we're actually going to try and hard summon that, because by hard summoning that, we're actually going to get the ability of bringing Kong down. Now obviously the only issue with that is it will eat up the Lujian, which will be special summoned off of the back of Ferrigit. Another option is you could special summon down the Fractal, and that can give you the barrier, the Samorg barrier. So what you could have done as well, if you had decided it in, or if you do decide to main it, is you banish the Kong as well. Instead of making Ferrigit, you make the barrier statue. But we're going to do it this way. We're going to go with the special summon down the Lujian, sorry. Now keep in mind, we still got our normal summon. We haven't even used that yet. So we still have the ability of using Fractal to do something more from here. Now what you can do, again, maintaining your normal summon, is you can decide to use your Yugioh and your Cuirass and go into the Dragon Lords. By doing that, Dragon Lords will then allow you to search out another monster. Now, this can easily be able to search you out your Masterful Sun Moon, your Fearsome Zhang Yuan, or if you really, really want to, you could search out your Kong, and Kong will then special summon itself. So it just gives you another monster on the board. So if we were to take the Kong, Kong would special summon. Now, obviously, he needs Yugioh on the board in order to pretty much fulfill any further effect. Now we've got the East by South Ether Winds, and again, if we send this, we can destroy, our effects of these can't be responded to. Now this is purely so that we save the normal summon of Fractal, because by saving the normal summon of Fractal, we actually have the ability to make the barrier statue play, but we also have the ability to make a rank 4 play as well, if we want to, or on top of that, we can pretty much go into the Appaloosa. So again, what we kind of wanted to aim for by the end of this play was to end up with an Appaloosa play. What was Appaloosa plus an Ancient Warrior or IP Masquerena. So again, what you can do as well is entirely up to you, is you can now normal summon the Fractal. If you wanted to, Fractal could special summon a Link monster. You would have to clear a zone because of Ferrigit. So that is one option there for you. And if he was to do that, he could bring out another Ferrigit, but it's not going to do a lot. And he could bring out a second Ancient Warrior Dragon Lords, which again is very doable purely because of the fact that the Dragon Warrior doesn't actually really need anything. And what I mean by that is you only want to link summon him to get the search. Once you've done that, his second effect is always going to be online anyway. So what you could ideally do is you could link these two together if you want to. This is just another option. Go for a 2 negate Appaloosa, and then you could use Fractal's effect to banish 2. So banish Cuirass and your Kong from the graveyard. And that will then allow you to special summon again your Ancient Warrior. Now you're not going to get the search off of this, but what this will allow you to do is it then leaves Fractal and Kong free to either make a rank 4 or link 2 together and go into IP Masquerena. Now obviously the only issue from this point on is that by making IP Masquerena, you don't really have the discard fodder during your next turn to trigger any effects. So all you're going to have here is your double negate off of Appaloosa and your Aces of Dragon Lords. So what you could do, which might have been a little bit better, is overlay these two into like a Tiger King. And then that would give you another Tenki to set up your next turn. So again, it's entirely up to you on how you'd want to end the board, whether you're going for an IP, but without the discard fodder, it's not really worth it. Whereas the Tiger King gives you that Tenki that can allow you to pretty much play again during your opponent's, or play again during the next turn. So your opponent's dealing with a send of East by South Winds off of your Dragon Lords if you want to, which will then bounce a card your opponent controls, which is really kind of cool. And then you've got a double negate on Appaloosa. Again, like I said, this deck really isn't designed to be going first. But out of all of it, if you were to main the barrier statue, again, you would have locked your opponent into wins. So you would have been able to have built that entire board up. And rather than making a second Dragon Lord, you could have kept the Dragon Lord as it was. And linked away the Ferrigit, and possibly Ferrigit plus the Dragon Lords would have gone into an Appaloosa, and then you would have made the barrier statue plus, or the Samorg plus the barrier statue, and then you still would have kept Kong as well, Kong and Fractal as well. So really dependent on if you main it or not. Now let's show you again what else it can do going first. Again, we pretty much had the full go second combo. I think the only thing we missed in that hand would have been a droplet, which you never know might have been our 6th card. So again, after a very decent shuffle and a good old cut, our second test down going first will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, with that hand, you can see that this is screaming for like go second, because straight away you'd have Extrav, droplet, and your loyal Yugioh. That's like go second dream. So we're going to play Extravagance. We're going to draw 2. Tenki. Now, from this point on, we're not in the best of positions technically going first, because the Tenki can give us the full Fractal combo, which is great, absolutely fine. So I'll play this out going first, but really, if you were playing this out going second, I'm just going to explain how you'd go second on this, is you'd actually have the ability of going droplet, send the call by, I would activate the Saga as well. So to activate the Saga, activate the Droplet, send Saga called by, get rid of those, turns off 2 cards. Your Saga then means the opponent can't respond to Ancient Warriors. Special summon down your Yugioh. Yugioh can then trigger his effect to pop the card that is left if they have 3 Omni Negates on board, so to say, and they can't respond because your East by South Winds is gone. You then have the ability to activate Tenki, do the full Fractal combo, go into Dragon Lords if you want to, or go into Ferrigit. You'll still then have the ability to special summon down Facial Zhang Yon as well. You could then link Zhang Yong and Lu Zhan into Dragon Lords. Sorry, Dragon Lords would then have the ability to search you a card which can then be discarded off of Karas when you summon him. And that's a lot of plays there. But just by going first, what you're pretty much doing is, again, you're going to be going like hugely defensive. Is you're actually going to activate the Tenki, so Tenki will stay. Now, your direct search purely on this hand will be the Fractal, because your Fractal is going to get you the full combo. Now, this Yugioh is your like dead card, because you're not going to be able to ever resolve that. So you're going to send your Fractal. If they try to Ash you, got the Call by the Grave. Yeah, the one-off, believe it or not. Of course, you're going to send your Nerval. Nerval is going to get you out your Karas. There we go. So Nerval goes, Karas comes to hand. Use Karas's effect to get rid of your Yugioh, because he is like pretty much the dead card. You're not going to be able to use him. You're then going to use Karas's effect to banish 2, which will be Nerval and Fractal, leaving your Yugioh in the grave. That will then get you your Ferrigit, if you want to, because obviously the Ferrigit will only special summon down the level 2. Sorry, level 4 or lower. If you don't want to do that, what that'll then allow you to do is bring out your double Dragon Lords, and double Dragon Lords will have that bounce during your opponent's turn. So then what you would do from here is you'd set the call by, technically I'd activate the East by South Winds, and I'd set the Droplet. Now, if you wanted to, another option that you could have made is you could have made the Wind statue again. Very, very specific if you main it or not. And again, like I said, this deck is designed to go second, which is probably why you would see this. But during your opponent's turn, what you're going to have here is you've got a very nice Call by the Grave. You've then got 2 cards that you really don't care about sending. So Droplet has got two free send cards and a Karas. So you're able to stop your opponent, negate 3 monster effects, half free during damage calculation. You also have Dragon Lord's effect is on 17, who can bounce back one of these cards as well. So what you'd then be able to do, sorry, send one of these cards to bounce back as well. So you're either Droplet it as maximum potential, or you're going to be able to go Dragon Lord send, and then your Yugioh as well can come down, I believe. Yeah, as long as it battles, you can bring down the Yugioh as well, Zhang Yon as well. So it wasn't ideal. Again, it burnt through your entire hand, but like I said, it's designed to go second. So still pretty good going first. Is that you ended up, like Droplet makes most of that, but you ended up with your Dragon Oath, you had your Tenki that you needed, and you had the East by South Winds as well. So now let's get aggressive. Now let's go through the full plays that we want to be doing. Let's show you how aggressive this deck can be. Now again, this scenario is you kind of want to open up your Droplet, you want to open up your Dark Ruler No More. You want to switch off the board, because once you switch off the board, you pretty much have the potential to run rampant. Now, whether that's running rampant with the Warrior of Nibiru or without it, it changes the play slightly, but not massively. So after a decent shuffle, our opening hand of 6 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. Clearly, it wants me to play pure Ancient Warrior. So we're going to activate the Extrav. It does matter a little bit what you banish, but it's not the end of the world. This hand's actually pretty cool now. So you special summon down your Loyal Yugioh. Now, this is going to be able to bait a card out. It's going to be able to negate a card. It's going to be able to pretty much do whatever you want it to do. What you're then going to have the ability to do, because you've got more cards, your opponent is going to have more cards, like, let's be honest. And then this will allow me to send. So you'd normal summon your Yugioh. This is the first one you want to go for. Your Yugioh will then send one from your hand. Now, Kong is the dead card, but you can also send your Sun Moon. It's entirely up to you, because one is going to lead into the other. So you're going to use your Yugioh to send your Zukong, and that's going to allow you to special summon an Ancient Warrior monster. And that's going to special summon, ideally you want your Sun Moon, because then what Sun Moon can do is lets you add a monster. So then what you're going to do is Sun Moon is going to send Sun Moon from the hand to the graveyard. It's going to search out your Kong. Kong is then going to special summon himself. Straight away, that means you've got another negate on board. You do need a continuous, face-up continuous, but from this point on, you still have Carras as well, keep in mind. And all you're really doing is filling up your graveyard with monsters. So what you can do here is you can pretty much, if you want to make the full fractal combo, you can overlay any of these into a Tiger King. Tiger King can shut off your opponent's board and go from there. Now, they don't know you've got the Carras, but the Carras still unlocks your entire board, because keep in mind that just by resolving the Carras effect, he can get you, by the time this board's cleared, can get you into your Shurag or can get you into a Ferrijit. Ferrijit will then special summon down Ancient Warrior, Sun Moon, or Lujon. That can then make Dragon Kings as well. So you're in actually a very, very good position. So it really is up to you whether you want to make a rank 4, whether you want to make a link 2, whatever. You should use the effect of Lujon right now, or Gujon, just to kind of clear a monster off. You can then link these two together because Gujon is a wind, and you can go straight into your Dragon Lords. That will then trigger to let you search out an Ancient Warrior monster. Now, the one you want to go for is your Loyal Valiant Zhang Di, because he, while your opponent has more monsters than you, can attack twice, and he's going to get a nice boost from all your opponent's monsters as well. So what you can do here, because you control 2 or more Ancient Warriors, you can special summon him down. You can then overlay these two if you want. Now, again, keep in mind, this is all without any of our continuous spells, so we're actually in a fairly decent position. You can turn Tiger King into like Zeus after the battle as well if you want, but what this will do is Tiger King will then trigger. That will then get you a Fractal. You've now got the ability to go full Fractal. We'll get you your Tenki, and your Tenki will then give you your full Fractal combo. It now means that Ancient Warrior also has another card that it can just send Tenki to bounce a card. Tiger King can detach and turn off the entire board, except Beast Warriors. They're all Beast Warriors. Nice. Obviously, you want to make sure that you trigger this effect while your opponent still has more monsters. You can then use Double Dragon's effect to bounce the Tenki, to send the Tenki, I believe it is. Let me just double check. Yeah, so you send the Tenki to bounce a card your opponent controls, absolutely fine. You can do the full Fractal combo. Now, the only reason that you would do the full Fractal combo is to deck thin and to fill up your graveyard even more, meaning you can go straight to a Shurag if you want to, but you don't really need to. So it's going to send the Nerval. Nerval will then get you the second Carras, which means Carras can go off again next turn, should you need it, but you probably shouldn't. And then what Carras can do is Carras will send, I would probably get rid of the Masterful Sun Moon, purely because the Sun Moon will give you, we can target a monster your opponent controls and bounce it to the hand, or you get the effect of Lujon, which lets you draw a card. So we're probably going to go with the Lujon effect. So Carras is then going to special summon himself down. He'll then have the ability to banish pretty much whatever you want. So he can banish up to 4 and bring you out a Shurag. That's then going to banish one of your opponent's monsters. Or you go into a Ferrijit, and the Ferrijit will bring down the Lujon. And then you just have more link fodder from that point on. So that's entirely up to you on where you want to go. But the Carras, just by banishing 4, gets you into the Ominous Omen. And then what you can do from here, if you really, really want to, is you can use Carras and Tiger King and go into your Ferrijit. Ferrijit, this is all overextension right now, keep in mind. But what this would then do is, by using these two, again, you're filling up more in your graveyard. You make Ferrijit. Ferrijit will then special summon down your Lujon. And then what you can do from here, again, because we're going aggression, is you can link those two together, go into Access. Access goes up by 2k. Remember, this is going to get to attack twice as well. Access now has 2 materials in the graveyard. He's got an Earth and a Wind. So we can banish both of those to pop 2 more cards. So you've banished a card off of this. You've popped a card off of Gujon. You've popped 2 more cards off of Access Code. You've returned a card with Dragon Lord. So they should have no monsters left on the field. And you're going to go 4-3, 3k, 1400, 27 twice. And even if it's 27 once, still going to be game. And Lujon would get you an additional draw. And that's just being all-out aggression with pretty much only monsters. So you can imagine what happens when you get like free visits or anything like that. Speaking of which, let's move on to our final test hand. And we will show you, the aggression. Now, obviously the one thing that makes that hand better is Dark Ruler No More, but then you don't get the OTK or Droplets. So when it comes down to Droplets or Dark Ruler No More in any game where you have both, it's really down to, can my opponent recover from an entire board break under Dark Ruler No More? If they can, fine. Then you want to go for Droplets, because Droplets will still allow you to OTK with this deck. If they can't, then you'd go with Dark Ruler No More, and it means you're sacrificing less cards from your hand and your board. But also keep in mind, what makes this deck so good is there's stuff like Nerval, stuff like free visits and Tenki that you don't mind losing. So our final test hand of 6 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, the only thing that makes this hand better is the extravagance, but we've got the full combo just there. So what we can afford to lose is we can lose the 3 visits and we can lose the Call by the Grave. The Call by the Grave only protects us from Ash. So if our opponent doesn't have a hand, or we don't think they're playing Ash or anything like that, then you have a little bit more to play around with. But what I would advise is you activate the East by South winds. You then use the droplets effect to send East by South winds and your Call by the Grave. Now, obviously, if they've got monsters on the board, you will need to sacrifice one of these, and the one you would sacrifice would be the Yugioh. Now, that does affect the combo because then you don't have that additional Beast Warrior to send. But if droplets is enough to kind of turn off the board, then you're in a good space as it is. So you get rid of those. Obviously, the only thing that makes this better is just having that additional monster, because then what you'd be able to do is exactly that. You'd be able to send the droplet and the opponent wouldn't be able to respond. And again, that's where Dark Ruler comes in, is you would be able to keep your East by South and your Call by, but you're still be in a little bit of a trouble. Now, your opponent can't respond to the activated effects of your Ancient Warriors, so again, you're in a good position. So Fractal, we're going to do the full Fractal combo. Send Nerval. Nerval is going to send you, or search you the Karas. Karas can then use his effect, send in the Yugioh from your hand to the grave to special summon himself. Now, if you wanted to keep the monsters in the hand, or you wanted to send that, then you would have to use your normal summon of Karas, which isn't the end of the world, because from this position here, so let's say we did use our normal summon, okay, and let's say we sent the Yugioh, okay, so from this position here, you would then banish 2, so you'd banish your Nerval and the Fractal. That will then allow you to special summon down the Yugioh. You'd then be able to trigger Yugioh's effect to send the Tenki. Open, or ideally your opponent has more than 3 monsters on board. Now that can either get you your Yukong, or it can get you your Sun Moon. Now from this point, what Sun Moon can do is send Karas, because he's done his thing, he's done his job, and get you your Yukong. Now from this point on, what you want to do is you can use Ferrigit, because ideally we're going for the aggression. You can use Ferrigit, or you can use the Yukong. It's literally just to get another monster to the board. If you're going for aggression, what you do is you use these 2 here. This will then give you your Dragon Kings. Dragon Kings, I keep saying Dragon Kings, but Dragon Lord will then allow you to search out your aggressor in the form of your Zhang Di. As soon as Ferrigit goes, you'll get the draw too, but that's, again, it's entirely up to you. Now, because you control 2 Ancient Warriors, you special summon down the Zhang Di. You can use Dragon Lord's effect if you want to bounce a card, to spin a to send a card, to spin a card. Entirely up to you. But what we're ideally going to want to go for here, because again we're going for aggression. You could go into Borrow Sword using this, this, and this, and that will allow this to switch twice. But this just gives the additional monster on board. So it depends if your opponent has more than 3 monsters, or if they have 2. If they only have 2, you go for Sword. If they don't, then you're going for Access Code. Because an Access Code is going to get 2 pops. So keep in mind as well, at this particular moment in time, if your opponent has 4 monsters, we're going to play off the synopsis that your opponent has 4 monsters, okay? Zhang Di is going to be able to attack twice. Access Code is going to clear 2 of those monsters off, so your opponent's only going to be left with 2 monsters. And the monsters are going to be halved as well. So what you're going to be able to do from here is Access will banish 2 to pop 2. Okay, so they're going to be left with 2 monsters on the board. We technically have on our board 4 attacks. 2 of the monsters that we've left will probably be the half attack ones. So then you attack with Sun Moon, deal damage, right? This one gains 300 attack for each monster your opponent controls, but it's only during their turn. During your turn. So if they've got 2 more monsters on the board, this is currently sitting at 33. So he can attack, depending if he's going to do more damage than Sun Moon. It really depends. So he's going to attack, do some damage. Sun Moon attacks, kills the other one, right? Then you go in with Zhang Di again for 27. So at the moment, you would have done at least... All you need to do is you need to do 7. So just between these 2 attacks on your opponent's monsters, you need to do a total of, let me just get the maths right, so 4, 6, 7. You only need to do 1,000 damage. So let's say this does like 800 damage, and then this does 1,000 damage. He gets to attack again for 27, and then Axe is going in for 43. That's your full OTK. Like, completed and done. They're not winning this game. And that was also using your normal summon on Karas. So technically, if you wanted to, using your Forbidden Droplet effect, you could have turned off 3 monsters, and your opponent wouldn't be able to activate effects in response to your Dragon Lord, to your Yugioh, to your Kong, to your Sun Moon, and your Zhang Di. So like, they had no responses to any of that at all. So even if they had, like, the only time they could have ashed would have been through the Fractal plays, And if that happens, you still have the Zhang Lujian plays as well. Anyway, I know this is a little bit longer than usual, but you do have to go through the extra deck plays as well. I hope you like this video. Please, as I say, absolutely always, please smash the like button, hit the notification bell, subscribe, show support to the channel. If you get this video up to at least 50 likes, I'll be able to bring you more Ancient Warrior content or just do more test hands for you guys as well. But for now, as absolutely always, guys, stay safe and happy dueling.